Hi everyone, today I have Sunil Kumar here with us today, and he is the CEO and co-founder of Install 365. Now, Install 365 is based out of Bangalore in India, and they deal with services and maintenance of intricate and modular spaces, mostly B2B in the residential and commercial spaces. Now, since their launch in 2023, they have rapidly scaled their operations and now operate throughout the country. But let's hear more from Sunil all about that. So, firstly, thank you, Sunil, for joining us here today. And can you tell our viewers more about yourself and how Install 365 came to be?
Sure. First of all, thanks Verin for having me. It's a pleasure
Nice to
doing
have you.
this. Um, so Install 365 is a B2B services company. Our primary services is into last mile installation operations for large interior brands, okay, both in residential and commercial space. Primarily, we looked into fixed furnishings, okay, and now we have spaced out into door installations as well, where we work with a lot of builders across India. I think we started in 2023 with the premise. So I come from this industry. I worked in this industry for nearly 5 years. I had two stints into interior companies. One where I launched this vertical, uh, and when I first started this job, sourcing for the last mile operations was always a challenge. We took a lot of services, we scoped different ways trying to solve it, uh, but there was never a. It's a problem that keeps evolving. If you solve for one, you'll find another one. Okay, so I think 2 years back, with my partners Uday and Lokesh, they found a case where they could solve for the ever evolving problem of people and managing people. And that is when, with a good source of teams at the beginning, we were able to launch it. And thanks to a lot of our customers, in the first year, we were able to do a bit. We started with 4 cities in the first year. In the second year, we have moved on to 8 cities right now. And we are also operating in 4 satellite cities. Satellite cities is basically where we do a lot of bulk projects. Okay. So if you want to understand more, interiors is a very complex, interesting, and evolving industry. Okay, you would have heard of the companies like Homelane,
Yes,
LiveSpace,
of course.
uh, Burful. So these are the companies which have brought this industry uh, into what it is today. It is a very big market in the country right now. It was not the case 10 years back. Okay, 10 years back, I think both these companies, Homelane and LiveSpace, had just started with the core idea of solving the problem. So if you talk about interior industry, there are 4 segments. Okay, it's sales, design, production, and installations. A lot of technology has gone in to solve for all these problems. Okay, I think they have solved for 75% of it. The last 25%, the last mile installation, is something that nobody has been able to solve it. Okay, a lot of attempt has gone in. People are doing what they do, okay, but that is the problem area that we feel is the last piece in that interior business puzzle. And that is why Install 365 came in, said that we'll solve the last 25%. You have already done the 75%, we'll do the 25%. And that is how the whole business came about.
Okay, so you basically just filled in that gap.
Yes.
So, how did you manage to find that particular gap? And you, in just a short span of time, you have scaled throughout the country, right? How do you manage your operations and how did you scale so rapidly?
Uh, I think we started because of a very good core business expertise from my other co-founders, Lokesh and Uday. They have been in this industry for much more than I have. They both have spent a decade or a large part of decade in this industry. Uh, they built a good network in terms of sourcing people. Okay, trying to understand what is it that they need. Okay, that we are able to match so that we get what we require from them. Okay, ultimately it's a blue collar business. Okay, sourcing with is generally a challenge in this industry because uh, there is a quick buck mentality that generally exists. Okay, because most of these people are paid on a per diem basis. Okay, so the whole idea was ki if we secure them, we'll be able to secure our business. Okay, and that is the whole principle on which we build this business. Okay, we don't want people to think like they are laborers. Okay, for us they are technicians. Okay, they are not carpenters or any other term that is used in the market. For us they are technicians, technicians who install and fix critical products. Okay, um, so for us it was important that they feel that way as well. Okay, forget about anybody else. Okay, now we wanted to empower them with that. Okay, and we built in our programs internally in the company where we provide a pathway for them to grow from an technician to a project head and even beyond. Okay, so that helped us getting that confidence from the teams on the field, which subsequently helped us scale fast. Okay, because then we were able to bring in more people. Okay, train them well. Okay, and then spread it out. Okay, we when we started from four cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, and Chennai for a bit, and Mysore, it was easier for us because we already had people there. But in order to scale to cities like Hyderabad, Gurgaon, now Chandigarh, Kolkata, and Goa, which is something which are satellite cities, it became easier because we were able to tap into that confidence that we had provided them. A lot of our people come through referral programs. Okay, those referrals majorly come in because of the confidence that we have. Our senior most person, who is the head of installations in Bangalore, started in this industry 10 years back as a technician. He worked his way up. Okay, became a supervisor. He then became a project head, and then he's now an installation head.
So like a gradual flow.
Yes, and that is what we want for all our people. Okay, everybody who joins as a technician or a junior technician, we want them to grow.
Of course.
Okay,
And it makes them feel important as well. And they produce more and they are more efficient also that way, right?
absolutely. I mean, people should know their worth, and generally they know it when the company shows that kind of affection, in more in terms of, obviously there is a money aspect. Obviously you should grow
Of course.
monetarily as well, but more in terms of how critical, how fast they are able to grow the standard of living. Okay, one of the critical pieces, because most of our people are on field. Okay, so we felt that today or tomorrow they will be prone to a road accident. Okay, so we took care of that particular part. Okay, we don't want people to feel unsafe. Okay, even if there is an issue, there is a provision within the company that can help them directly if god forbid something like that happens. Okay, and then there is an extensive program, or there is an extensive Medicare that we provide as a company over and above all the statutory things that is required. And I think that has helped us, and in the coming year now we are looking to extend a bit more. Okay, in terms of their career path, because we are expanding fast, so we want them also to grow faster.
That's actually very nice because that is the only way people are actually, they feel more. It's not like, you want it to be your second home or anything, but you do want to get the most efficient output as well as have a balance and
Yeah,
mentally, physically, especially. And you've mentioned that, they are not called carpenters or anything, they're technicians and
yes.
then they grow more, right? So, what does a typical operation look like for your team? You've also mentioned field operators and
Yeah,
operators.
so let me in a company our typical day is that day minus one. Like yesterday by 4 o'clock we generally have the schedules for different accounts that we have, accounts being our customers, across different cities. A schedule is already fixed for what the operations will be for tomorrow. So we have we start with chronologically, whenever we start a project, it starts with unpacking of materials, okay, and doing what we call as missing and damage check. And then the installation process happens. Then we do an internal quality check, and after that there is an external quality check done by the interior brands, and then we do the handover. For us, for our operations team, the typical day is ensuring that the teams are aligned. Okay, everybody reaches their respective sites on time. Uh, we use a lot of technology in order to cater to or keep that in track. We don't want people to be running ahead there, just to keep that in check. Um, by the time they usually do a check-in with their respective supervisors, they already know what their task is. Installation team works on their installation front. Supervisors generally travel to multiple sites to see how the work has progressed, or if there is a hindrance in between, then supervisors generally coordinate with the account team or the respective client in order to solve for that. If it requires a further intervention, it goes to a project head and subsequently up the chain. By the end of the day, we usually finish our day around quarter to 6, and by 6 we are out of every site. That is usually how a typical day ends for a field person. For our supervisors, it extends for another hour because they have to share daily updates to each of their respective clients. uh, and at the end of the day, we get a summary of how many projects have we closed. This is not usually we do on a day-to-day basis, more on a weekly basis. But that is usually a typical day of business in our operations area. We have a sales which is primarily catered by the founders right now, and an AVP whom we have recently hired. We Our general day to day is more on expanding, sourcing new clients, which is and planning for the next city launch. So this is our usual day to day.
Okay. So initially, when you first started talking, and when we also got to talking, um, so normally people will be curious as to where exactly in your sector, in your company, do you use technology. But now that you have also mentioned about your operations, your day-to-day
Right,
operations,
right.
it does seem a lot of relevant digital tools will be utilized for your work. So can you talk more on that?
Yeah. So whenever there is, so ours is a people heavy business. Okay. Day to day interaction is with a lot of people. Okay. General thinking is, if you do 100 projects from 10%, you will need, if you want to do 200 projects, you will subsequently need 20 people, things like that. But if you continue thinking in that, will not be able to scale much. Okay, more number of people uh, requires more number of technology interventions, right? So when I talk about technology in our field, the key aspect is to ensure that the people are on time. That is the first challenge that is still there. Okay, with a lot of
Okay.
our clients, if they're not working with us, this is one of the key challenges that they are facing. Okay, in order to ensure that, we built thanks to the help from Clappia, we are able to not track those, okay, whether or not all our people are coming on time, okay, and if they're able to come in on time, if they're not on time, then there is an alert that gets pushed in, okay, which is a basic discipline we want to keep track of, okay. If I'm not using it, okay, I'm probably using WhatsApp. Okay, so, which is the way it used to happen earlier in my previous companies. We asked carpenters or the technicians. Okay, I think I should not say
Carpenter.
carpenters. Yeah. So in my previous organizations, this is how we ensured that the technicians reached the site on time. Okay, they would do a location check on WhatsApp, okay, where you basically send your live location, you're reaching the site on time and things like that. That is a good thought, okay, but a lot of our sites do not have very good network, okay, which is one of the key reasons why we actually doubled on our usage in Clappia. We were able to do that. Okay, that is one area that is important for us. In terms of daily updates, okay, we used a lot of Google Sheets. Okay, everybody was working in different uh, manner or a different standard of reporting. Okay, we were able to standardize it. Okay, and based on those standardization, we were able to build an application uh, which helped us to get a day-to-day track of how our projects are evolving. Okay, so we get a basic timeline check of all our projects. We have a promise to each of our customers. We promise ki we will be able to finish uh, an X volume of projects in these many days. Okay, we need to keep a track of that, and that is something that is very critical. You should not be doing that manually. Okay, it should come up on your dashboard, and that is one of the key pieces I feel is important in terms of technology intervention.
So you used it for project management,
We
essentially.
used it for attendance tracking, we used it for project management, we used it for daily reporting, we used it for project reporting as well.
Okay.
And we are now trying to put in another element in terms of trying to make it much easier for people on the field, which is trying to get those things automated. Okay, first, right now we were more focused on getting it adopted. Okay, which has been very successful over the last 3 months. It took 3 months. Okay, which is generally uh, okay in terms of what I felt. I think it is not easy to get this adopted because you need to train people well. Okay, they should know how to use it. Okay, and then you build a frequency because people are not used to doing all this. Okay,
True. And
yeah,
sometimes they also feel a bit hesitant to try something new.
yeah,
And if it's unfamiliar to them,
yes,
it does take a while first to even get into the feel of trying
correct,
it, then to actually use it, then
correct,
implement it.
correct,
So
correct.
yeah, it does take time.
Mm.
So yeah.
Second part, coming back to the use of technology. Because we do a lot of projects, we do somewhere around 200 projects a month. Uh, I think we clocked to 275 in the last financial year. The exit was somewhere around that. Now, these many projects needs to be accounted. Okay, uh, doing that itself is a lot of manual task. Okay, because billing based on a certain square feet. Okay, into rates. If there is a debit or if there is a credit involved in that project, and that is a lot of again a manual task. Okay, so we'll built in a process where uh, all of this becomes obsolete. Okay, nobody has to do any manual check, and the bill or the invoices get automatically generated. So technology intervention in these critical pieces has helped us scale faster. Okay, we are not behind on anything. Okay, in terms of use of technology further ahead is in our business or in the installation business. If you look at a lot of products, okay, these are very expensive products. Okay, an average interior ticket size based on different companies, it is usually somewhere around 15 lakhs. Okay,
Okay.
imagine somebody spending 15 lakhs. Okay, obviously he wants the best out of his product, right?
Correct.
So our core focus is how to improve the product life cycle. Okay. Now this is as much technology as much installations. Okay. If you install a product with quality, okay, the life cycle generally serves better. Okay. It would require less amount of servicing. Okay. It will not have problems, or it will not require let's assume maintenance. Okay, which is something that we are now evolving into. Okay, so let's assume if there is a table. Okay, if you are a customer, you can let's talk about a cupboard. Okay, if you are a customer, right, you see your cupboard has been installed. Okay, from your naked eye, from your experience, you'll be able to see, okay, there is a slight bend. Okay, that is the utmost that you will be able to see, or the alignment, it is not there.
Correct.
That is the best that you can see. Correct. So obviously we obviously cater to that part. That is one of the primary quality checks that we do. Okay, but then there are now we have now the technology is evolving that probably in future the products may not have screws as well, but right now we have. Okay, now the angle in which that screw is done, okay, it should not be it should not have undulations. Okay, if it has, that means the product life cycle gets reduced there.
Correct.
Okay, we do a very specific quality check on ensuring all these parameters are taken care of. Okay, whenever the first set of installations is done, we do a check on that as well, which is basically setting up of the base, what we call as carcass in the industry. When you're doing a carcass installation, we need to check that all these parameters are taken care of. Okay, if there is a clamp, it is installed properly, it has a proper angle. Okay, it can take a load when the platform gets installed. These are the quality checks that is done manually right now. Okay, our whole idea is to uh, bring in technology checks to fulfill that. Okay, which will remove a first of all people dependency, also will be able to provide our customers ki, okay, this is the level of quality that install 365 delivers, and that is the key, or that is something that excites me. When we build this company was we'll be able to show this with a report ki, this is the quality of installation that has been done by an install 365. So I think that sums up on how the technology goes here. We are also talking more on what are the best use cases for us, more in terms of, see, ultimately, if you're a customer, you want transparency. Okay,
Yes.
what kind of work is happening? How is it happening? How is it being done?
Of course.
And that is already being taken care through a lot of pictures, etc., and all those things. Okay, and that is another area where we have started working, and we are already in pilot with couple of our clients uh, in terms of bringing in more digitalization in terms of project management. So
Okay.
I think those are the areas which will help us scale better. And I think the roadmap for our product usage uh, has grown over the last 2 years.
All right. So, how do you think about the product life cycle, in terms of a graphical manner?
Hmm.
Is it with the use of technology?
Hmm.
How far from the normal line do you think it has increased in terms of efficiency or increasing quality or anything of that sort?
Uh, I think the quality has definitely gone up. Okay, I remember when we started in this industry, there were not a lot of parameters uh, built around all of that. But obviously, with the advent of technology, in a lot of designing, okay, has helped uh, build a better product life cycle. Okay, the quality of designing has gone up. The quality of production has gone up as well. Okay, now you're when you design better, you know what kind of production you need. Okay, so you build your production capacities accordingly as well. So I think it was 7 years back when all these interior factory production units had set up. Okay, and everybody used the best tools because the designs were getting better, the
Of course.
clarity in
Yeah.
designs were there. Okay, now when designs come in, you understand what kind of edges you need. Okay, so whenever you have a furniture, there are always an edge, right? If you remember, uh, at least in the previous generation, okay, you would always get some kind of scratching through the edges of any furniture. Okay, obviously that has changed into when edge binding came along. Okay, uh, earlier filing used to be done. I don't know if
Yes.
you understand that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
have had a class and workshop, so
Oh,
I
okay. So you know that. So filing was required, okay, so in order to cater to those needs. But when the technology came in, okay, with the advent of edge bindings and the type of edge binding to be used, okay, uh, that has also evolved. Now when you get into that, then there are different machines used for edge binding as well. There is a manual way of gluing an edge binding. Okay, then there is a hot press machine. Okay, which is required to do edge binding. Okay, that helped. Obviously, if it's a machine done, a, it is faster. Okay, and b, it is better. Okay, next, which I felt has evolved further, was there are hinges. I talked to you
Yes.
about screws, right? So uh, hinge holes, or defining those hinge holes, became apparent when the technology evolved further. Okay, people now produce with hinge holes that does not require, those don't need to be done on sites anymore. Okay, it comes from the factory itself. So you are again saving time, because the technology has helped you identify the areas where the hinge holes need to be. Okay,
Yes.
it has saved time what is required on the site. More importantly, the site doesn't get dirty anymore. Okay, because if you're doing hinge holes on site, there will be a lot of dust. It still is. Okay, but that has come down a lot. Okay, it has helped. When an installation used to take like months, it now happens in weeks or days, even for that matter.
That sounds
Yeah,
actually pretty cool.
yeah.
And judging by how he's been, talking about his industry and technology mix, you can see the excitement on his face.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you've also mentioned you've used Clappia for attendance, project management, reporting, for tasks
Yeah.
reporting as well. So where do you see the biggest impact using Clappia in your work?
I think both the primary reasons why we started using Clappia has helped. Okay, one is obviously attendance, and number two is project tracking. See, us as a company, like, we want to offer our customers as well the transparency at which we are working. Okay, with project management coming in, we now get a day-to-day update on how the projects are going on. Okay, uh, we built it on a timeline, so we know how on track or off track the project is. That is one of the greatest tools in our industry. Okay, if a secondary level of intervention is required, you get to know only because you have the information. In order to get that information, I think when we started using Clappia, these were the key aspects that we were looking to solve. Uh, so I think when we started, and also I think more than this, I think what I have understood while using Clappia is ki, the ease of building a technology was one of the critical factors for us. Okay, most of the people that we have or use this application are not very tech savvy. Okay, uh, but they were able to use it better once we started adopting. Okay, uh, a few process level checks had to be done. Okay, uh, but once we started fixing those processes, we were able to use the technology better. Okay, like for example, a project, when it comes in, okay, how, based on the scope of work, okay, our end timelines come in. Okay, for example, if it's a 40 lakh project, okay, obviously the timeline for that is different to your a 10 lakh project or a 15 lakh project. Okay, now you cannot judge everything on the same scale, so we need a lot of customization features. Okay, based on this degree of scope of work, this should be the timeline, and based on this, this is the, on a pro rata basis, this is the timeline that is given to us, and we should be tracking on that. So we required a lot of customization features in that, and I think that is where I feel the one of the key USPs I feel from Clappia is the customization feature. Okay, uh, and also the ease at which you can use those customization features. Okay, it is not required somebody, and you do not require a very skilled person in that aspect. I think somebody who spends a little bit of time, like a lot of our billing team, have been able to use Clappia on their own. Okay, over the last 1.5 months. Okay, they got trained on it. for I think a month, and now they are able to do a basic level of project entry checks, okay, adding new clients, things like that. And now the project tracking has helped become better because all the other processes were aligned more in terms of how the best use case should come for us, okay, in terms of field adoption. So I think in these are the two features where we felt that the this were the key features why we felt Clappia helped us adopt technology better.
I'm just curious, like how many applications did you build in Clappia up till now?
See, we have different people using different kind of applications. I think we have three for our one set of field teams, two more for another set of field teams, one for accounts, one for I think somewhere around 8 to 10. I think I'm not sure, but it would be somewhere around 8 to 10
And these
applications.
applications, were they built by like normal simple business users or regular team members, or were they actually built by your IT team?
We don't have an IT
You
team.
don't have an IT
We
team.
do not have a technology team. The tech guy in the company is me. Okay. uh, I think we took some initial help from the Clappy adoption team. I think after that we were able to build a lot of applications like uh, we have just started door installations vertical. Okay, we started that in the last month. We did not have an app to do that, and also doors was not something that we had actually thought we'll be starting, but we got those orders in faster than we expected. Okay, our expectation was to launch it in April, so we quickly needed an application. Okay, like I sat with the vertical head there. Okay, we sorted the SOPs which is required over there. Based on those SOPs, the input matrices that we require for that particular vertical, we built those. Okay, and based on those input matrices, we were able to build the app. All of this in a 2-hour session.
Wow,
And it went live that afternoon itself. Okay, and our teams have been using it for last 10-15 days.
that's impressive.
Yes,
Actually.
yes. And because see, like I said, I actually feel if your processes are defined, okay, and your team is adopting to those processes, it is easier to use Clappia. Okay, and I think that was the case for us.
So, did you before using Clappia, did you try out any other platforms? So, like, why did you choose Clappia in particular? If you
Uh,
have.
so there is a lot of history on that part. Okay, so I usually come from a sales ops background. Uh, so we, uh, so I think when we started in my previous roles, we had a lot of field force. Okay, this was more in sales. So we had a lot of field sales people. Okay, who would do a lot of obviously they had to reach out to a lot of customers, go to fields, collect documents, things like that. Okay, all of that was happening on uh, WhatsApp at the time. Okay, and this is like 4 5 years 4 years back, I think. um, I think it was okay for some time, but keeping a track of that became difficult. So we ventured out, we tried a few softwares. Okay, primarily we did a lot of, because you understand, right? Because whenever you get into a technology direction, building a roadmap in terms of building product is a little slow
Okay.
when you're working in a company. Okay, because you have to define the product roadmap,
Yes.
and then there is a product team that gets on it, and then obviously it evolves. Okay, but but we wanted to do a lot of dry runs ourselves. So I went out. We mostly ventured into a lot of DIY softwares. Okay, something that is, and which was no code. Okay,
Okay.
so we used a lot of softwares. I think I was working with couple at the time, Clappia being one of those. And that is when I think we came, I think Clappia was easier to use uh, in terms of building an application. And number two, it had a lot of features. Okay, because we deal a lot of people on field. Uh, the geolocation was a very critical element there.
The
Okay.
GPS location.
Yes. Yes. And that is something that I found very attractive at the time. Number two was obviously we deal a lot with a lot of files upload. Okay, that was another cool thing that I found. Okay, this is really good because if I remember correctly, I think at that time even in WhatsApp there was some limit. Um, I could be wrong, but I think there was an uploading limit or
I
something
think
like that.
around 30 images or something you could send.
So I think so that was another thing that we were able to address when we started using it. So I think that helped us. Then obviously came around understanding more about the company, more about the features, and then it stumbled that it is done by one of a very old friend. So I think that is when we worked more on, then we were able to adopt it better as well, I think, because of these features. Okay, and then we were able to talk more with the core team helping us adopt better. Okay, uh, and getting more into what is the best use of customization. So if we got stuck somewhere, we actually were able to adopt better. And also because it was early days in Clavia's life as well, so they were also exploring a lot of product inputs as well. Okay, which actually played well for us. Okay, because we at that time uh, we were not able to implement this successfully for that time because again the adoption was a major challenge from our field teams. Okay, uh, but I think persistence and because our processes were good at the time, it helped us evolve us better. I used it in one or two other companies where I worked with. And finally, when we started in Install 365, this was the first product I knew will be the core of our operations because whenever you're working in operations, technology adoption has been a challenge. I've done some tech consulting as well, and I have seen this as a problem in big companies. Okay.
Yeah, that is always there. I'm just actually wondering, if your field teams are using it very often and you're also using the GPS location, do they also make use of the offline mode?
Yes,
Because
yes.
they might work in remote.
Like I mentioned initially, also I think a lot of our sites do not necessarily have a very good network coverage. Okay, uh, I was really impressed with that feature. Okay, if you are doing working on an offline mode, which if people know is only possible in Google, to be very honest. Gmail has that feature of offline working, right? I don't think a lot of technology does. Obviously when you get back on the network, you're able to use the
Yeah.
technology or it gets done, but it fails most of the time. But because of offline usage, a lot of people in our field are able to give the proper feedback or the updates from the sites at a live point, which is one of the coolest feature I feel for us, because 90% of uh, our challenge happens because of lack of network. Okay, people don't have a good network, so they are not able to communicate better over the phone. They'll not be able to send pictures and they'll not be able to do geolocation tagging. So these are the key features I felt helped us a lot. Okay, for example, like we are currently working in a place called Panchkula.
Okay.
Okay, Panchkula is like 50 kilometers from Chandigarh. It's a great city. Okay, but the site where we work has zero network. Okay, we work in buildings which are like 30, 40 floors, and usually don't get a network in good part of those buildings. So this has helped us so that we never go offline in terms of our update. And more importantly, people cannot give a excuse that there was no network there. So
Yeah,
it plays
that's
in our
a
hands.
little problematic for them in that aspect.
It is, but see, and that is why I feel that the technology for us is far more important.
Of course. So now getting back to technology again in general. So how do you see your sector or install 365 on now? Everyone is hearing about Gen AI, and there's a lot of adoption around it. So how do you see um, your sector
Yeah.
evolving?
So in our segment, so primarily we are into an interior business. Okay. And like I said earlier, okay, technology has played a huge part in evolve in for this segment to become big. Okay. People have used great technology. So, like uh, told you, right? Sales, design, production, and installation. These are the four pillars in the interior industry. Okay. A lot of people have been able to solve for sales using cloud technology, okay, which is another great SaaS product, right? A design was solved by spacecraft, and then there were a lot of in-house tools built by a lot of companies. Okay, uh, much of it was based around spacecraft. Okay, which is one of the primary tools in designing. Okay, I remember, I think when I was working with Homelane at the time, when the design element was getting evolved. Okay, when you design something, let's assume, let's take the example of that cabinet itself. Okay, for a cabinet which has three doors. Okay, how much wood should be required, or uh, how much wood should be required? Okay, all of that was done manually before that. When the design was solved, or whenever the technology adoption happened through spacecraft and a bunch of other softwares at the time, they were able to calculate this particular house will require these many number of boards for cutting, etc., etc., keeping in account what should be the obviously optimizing for the wastages as well. So in this industry, these were the steps that have grown. Okay, wastages have reduced. Obviously, then your cost has reduced, and you're able to offer better prices to the customer. Production similarly have been able to optimize it in terms of wastage as well. For us, I think the two aspects that we are focused on. One is delivering a quality product, quality being the key operating. Quality check is the primary thing that we work on, working that the product life cycle is better when it is installed by install 365. So that is the key area that we are focused on. I think in terms of our usage of technology, it will involve much of that. Okay, I don't want to give too much away at this time, but we have a lot of products aligned in order to address that. That is part one. Number two is obviously speed. Speed and efficiency is the key delivery for us. Okay, how fast we can deliver is the second area where we work on. Okay, in order to build that, I think the technology related training is required. Okay, where we find the best installation mechanisms or optimized installation mechanisms that can be put into place through good training programs. Okay, and then we'll be able to address that. So these are the two aspects where we feel uh, will help us as a company, and our work around those two has already started.
Okay, so I believe even AI would help in these two aspects as well, like
Yes,
much more
yes. So
as well.
so we are, like I said, I don't want to give a
Of
lot
course.
away on that aspect. But yes, our core work is with obviously AI. Your pain in technology, a lot of pain in technology was around building something, right?
Yes.
With the advent of AI, building is not a problem right now. Okay, so that is something that has excited us as well in over the last 6 to 8 months. Okay, Now we know if this is required, this is the pathway to do it. Okay, now the pathway has reduced for us, so I think we'll be able to do that sooner rather than later. um, with the We are more focused on using best AI agents for uh, depending on the type of service we cater to, right now we are into fixed furnishings. We have just started doors. We have a lot of other verticals that we have just there is one more pilot that we have started. In the coming years will be including more of our services.
Okay.
And our pathways for the technology adoption in those is also uh, required, and we are clear how to best use them as well. Okay. uh, I think because of AI, adoption has become a building of the product has also become easier. Also the adoption has also helped.
Yes, it
Okay.
has.
And that is something that we are excited about. I think we do not want to spend a lot of time in helping people figure out how to use a product. Okay, like you don't really need to teach people how to use WhatsApp, right?
Yeah,
People know how to use
of course.
WhatsApp, right? People know how to take a photo from a camera,
Like
right?
second nature now.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that is where uh, I think the AI will help us. Okay, very optimistic about it. But I think we should get there. Even if there are hiccups, I think we should be able to do it with a better adoption. We feel our processes are well defined. So I feel if your processes are well defined, technology becomes easier to adopt. Okay, no matter the scale. Okay, if your processes are in check, your technology will always help you speed up. So that is our thought.
That's a nice thought.
Yeah,
So, before we wrap up,
yeah.
do you have anything you would like to tell our viewers? Any advice you would like to give them in terms of technology for maybe your sector or in general?
Uh, I think uh, I think I've said it a couple of times, but at the risk of repeating, I would say I think technology works as a tool. Okay, and a tool can only be helpful if you know how to use it. Okay, uh, with like I come because I am a sales and operations guy. I always stick to processes, and I think the technology has evolved well. Okay, and it will become very easy to use. So people should work on defining their processes better, optimizing your processes better. Okay, technology will help you adopt it better. Okay, with obviously the advent of Gen AI, and it will also help you optimize a better, right? uh, just to extend this, there was we were using this application at the time, okay, which was more on building day-to-day updates. Okay, uh, so if I'm a primary use case for our field user is they share daily updates. Okay, now a daily update through our application, uh, and then obviously they have to do it for the end customer as well. Okay, we are now placed in a situation where that person, so at this time he's doing this update twice. Okay, I think from the use of Clappia for this case, we'll be able to do it only once, because the extension of that, and which is also kudos to the feature that is there in Clappia, we are now able to put a daily update. Once the update is done from my team, an auto update goes to the end customer, be it WhatsApp, be it mail, and then we are now working on building quarterly reports. So because we already had a process to do that, we were able to extend ourselves better, know the technology better as well. Okay, and then test whether or not the technology can do this. So you should go to the edges or extend the boundaries of even the technology for that matter, and that is when I think the best will come out. This is what I feel. Also, with the growth of a lot of companies now, they're all based out of technology. Okay, obviously the SaaS market has grown a lot as well over the last 5 6 years. uh, I've seen great amount of products. Okay, unfortunately I have known a few products which have uh, although great products, but have not worked better because of adoption teams. Okay, um, we have seen when I was in Africa last year. Okay, and one of the key things that we noticed over there, the problem always starts with adoption. Okay, and adoption can only be made easier, okay, if the technology or the use of technology is easy for the person. And I think that is the direction that we are going into, the ease of technology, and I think that is where people should focus.
Yeah, and if if the technology is also easy to use, the it's like everybody is able to communicate better with it. I mean,
Yes,
nobody is like very
yes,
hesitant to use it. People
yes,
who are more tech savvy is also like they're able to communicate better with someone who is not tech savvy as well.
right, right, right,
So
right,
just to like summarize what you said, you should have your processes in place,
yes,
should be well aware of what is happening, what you require,
yes,
and also don't be afraid of trying out new things and not just simply dip your toes, maybe just fully dive into it,
yes.
right?
See, like I said, we did struggle a few times, okay, and that is bound to happen. Okay, you should not be afraid of failing. That is the
Of
mantra
course,
for every entrepreneur. Okay,
obviously.
uh, but you should not just say it. You have to believe it. You cannot
Yeah,
be. Uh, you should not get hesitant. Okay, it will anyways happen. Like for us, even if there is a problem, there is a second way or a better way to do it. Okay, that is where I feel. That is where I think the nature will move into.
all right.
Yeah,
So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, how
absolutely.
your company came to be. I think sharing your entire journey, your thoughts on technology, and how
Mm,
Clappia also came into picture, and
yeah.
utilization, your thoughts
Yes.
and everything, even Gen AI.
Huh.
Thanks for speaking so much about it.
Thank you
And
so much for
yeah,
having me.
you're most
It
welcome.
was a great. It was great to be here, and I think it was. I think I feel that we can do more, and our objective is to do more with technology in the coming
Yeah,
days as well. And
and we'd love to
excited
hear
to,
more also what
happy
you
to
delve
be
into.
here anytime.
All right. So thank you so much, Sunil,
Thank you
for
for
joining
having
us
me.
again.
Yeah.